Deep Fear for Sega Saturn. It was Sega's first crack at survival horror and the last game released in Europe. A Japanese release would follow weeks later, though Deep Fear never saw Western shores. I'm not entirely sure why you'd think Sega would want to wring a few more dollars out of their unappreciated 32-bit juggernaut, but I guess it's like Mickey says.
Because Sega doesn't like money.
Yeah, the PAL version typically demands anywhere from $150 to $200 on auction sites, while the Japanese version, in good condition, will run you less than $30. Saturn games released in the PAL format tend to fetch a bit more than any other region, though Deep Fear attracts more English speakers fearing a potential language barrier. I assure you, Deep Fear is very import-friendly. Spoken dialogue is English, door transition screens provide both English and Japanese translations as you enter. There are 2 instances where a basic knowledge of hiragana would prove helpful, though you can work them out through simple trial and error. If I can figure it out, anyone can. Alright, so here's the story. A re-entry pod lands in the Pacific and is soon recovered by a US sub. With their precious cargo safely in tow, they gas up at a naval research facility, the Big Table. As one would expect, some serious shit goes down and the sub crashes into the Navy area. Who's gonna save the day? None other than John Mayer. No, not that guy. This John Mayer is an ex-Navy SEAL and leading member of the Emergency Rescue Service. Joined by his trusted companion Mookie.
You don't have to yell, Mookie. Hurry up and get out, Mookie.
Ooh, I really hope that's his nickname. They investigate the sub only to find an officer begging for death. Before granting his dying wish, the officer violently mutates into a bizarre creature and, just like that, our aquatic nightmares off and running. The story is brilliant. With its eerie setup and fleshed out characters, Deep Fear held my interest the whole time. You get to know this motley crew quite well before metaphorical fit hits the shan. John is mourning the death of his lover, Gina feels emotionally disconnected, Danny's a widower yearning for companionship. You get where everyone's coming from, where they're going, or where they want to go. I didn't get that with Chris or Jill, not in the first game at least. Another thing I like is the sci-fi bent. While Resident Evil drew inspiration from George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, Deep Fear looks as if it were influenced by The Abyss and John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm so totally okay with that. Both films evoke feelings of isolation and unrelenting dread, which this game has in spades. These cinemas are awesome, thank God, because there's a lot of them, many of which exceed 3 minutes in length. Not Metal Gear Solid ridiculous by any means, though it's worth noting. Still, these sequences are a real treat, in spite of some truly horrid voice acting.
I did as you told me.
The last thing to do is to escape. John, can I push the detonator? The building is like my child. I have to do it.
It's all yours.
Did I say horrid? I meant to say fucking awful. Dubois is the worst, hands down.
There's no problem with my CFOX system. No accident should have occurred. Ooh!
Mayer doesn't fare much better. It's like watching William Shatner on Xanax.
Mookie, one of my men has died. The creature got him. I understand how you feel, but he can't be allowed to live or taken back to land.
Resident Evil had terrible voice acting, yes, but there was a strange charm that made it enjoyable. In Deep Fear, it's not charming. The performances are either wooden or they're...
Okay, I'll do it. But on the condition that you give me my vacation 1 week earlier. Then I'll take you around the Navy area wherever you want.
Okay.
Surprisingly, it didn't take away from the story, so I can't complain much. The presentation is virtually identical to Resident Evil. 3D characters and objects, 2D backgrounds, fixed cameras, and so on. Nothing terribly new here. Puzzles are no more complex than finding keys, mixing chemicals, or using tools to open doors. You may be thinking, okay, so it's just a rehash of Resident Evil, what gives? Well, one major difference is that your health and air supply are always displayed. These numbers in the upper right-hand corner tell you how much air remains in your current location. If you should run out of air, you'll suffocate, draining your life. You gotta find one of these junction boxes whenever you enter a new environment. players can refill oxygen and or recharge their rebreathers. You'll find the rebreather early on, for not all boxes function properly. In addition, there are flooded chambers throughout the big table. Of course, this must be done while you kill infected crewmen and search for items. This is where tension lies, since ammo and healing aids are plentiful. There's at least one weapons locker in every major area where you can restock without fear of depletion. That doesn't mean you should change your name to Spray and Pray or whatever. Few things suck quite as hard as running out of ammo while fighting a boss only to die and restart. That's another thing. In Resident Evil, saves were limited to a certain extent. If you weren't carrying an ink ribbon or you simply ran out, no more saves. That's it, you're done. Deep Fear? Players can save whenever they hit a junction box, which may as well be every 2 or 3 minutes. Undermines the suspense, don't you think? Puzzles aren't terribly difficult either. Since we're not trapped in a mansion built by an eccentric, the fetch quests are less imaginative. That makes sense given the environment, but there's little guesswork here. You know, all these brain teasers are self-explanatory. There are no statues or bookshelves. They're simple and straightforward. Not bad, though not great either. If it weren't for the riveting narrative, I don't think Deep Fear would be held in such high regard. Except the combat. Control plays a big role in this because you can run while shooting things. Yeah, how about that shit? Tank controls are intact, meaning up always moves Mare forward, regardless of where he stands on screen. That hasn't changed, but the action. It's a fucking revelation Resident Evil has yet to receive. I'm just amazed this works as well as it does. Instead of holding the aim button down to fire while standing in place, you simply press the aim button once to ready your weapon. Then you can run while shooting. It's fucking incredible. For those of you that loathe the traditional setup, Deep Fear actually utilizes the 3D analog controller. If you want him to go screen right, then you press right. Now, I don't like this setup for one reason and one reason only. Every time the angle cuts to the next, it goes black. That black screen gives you time to reposition your thumb for the next angle. Some players may enjoy the new layout, but I don't. It takes you that much longer to explore any given environment, and it will suck the excitement out of every boss encounter. I appreciate the effort, though I'm sticking with the Panzer. As for the graphics, they're terrific. I mean, they won't dazzle your optic nerve quite like Burning Rangers, but the creature designs are certainly unique. There are plenty of ghastly mutations of all shapes, sizes, and colors looking to fuck up your day. They really stand out against the slate gray environments, as do our normal characters. Animation is generally smooth, but the frame rate dips when there's a bunch of monsters bearing down on you. No big deal. The score is excellent, though you rarely hear it outside of those wicked cutscenes and boss fights. Deep Fear relies on ambient sounds to create suspense, which is fine, though I'm sure some players may find it too quiet. Some sound effects just suck, like the guns for instance. There's no punch whatsoever. The most pathetic is the machine gun. It sounds like a rapid succession of spit wads. Deep Fear is not without its flaws, though I feel the pros far outweigh the cons. The captivating narrative, interesting characters, gruesome creatures, and outstanding control make it a must-own for every Saturn fan. Get out of Raccoon City for a while and take a dip in the deep blue.
Chief!
No, you listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You must be from the Bravo team.
This guy is methodical, exacting, and worst of all, patient.
He's a nutbag.
Yo, check this out, guy. This is insanely great. It's got a 28.8 BPS modem.
Yeah?
display?
Actimatrix, man. A million psychedelic colors. Man, baby, it's sweet.
Welcome to the Fight Palace.
Oh, John, you're a real man.